there, and thank you so much for being with us today. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz. Welcome to Weather Out West. If you haven't joined us before, this is where we tell you what's happening weather-wise across the western United States, and you're going to find coverage from the PNW to the Mountain West, California, and to Arizona and the desert Southwest. But today we want to go right to Spokane, Washington, where our weather team issued a weather impact alert day due to the high fire danger. Here's Thomas Patrick with everything you need to know.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Another summer day ahead of us, but this time around we have heightened fire danger across the region. And that means we have red flag warnings issued, which is a common type of alert in the summer season, just solidifying the fact that this has been very much a summer weather pattern so far this late September here. So we're going to jump right into the forecast today, where red flag warnings issued across eastern and central Washington from 1 to 11 o'clock this evening. Of course, the wind speeds will be one of the primary factors that drives those fire danger conditions to their heightened to critical levels. But remember, it's a combination of windy and dry weather that makes the fire danger as high as it's going to be. What you need to know, especially if you live in central or eastern Washington, is to avoid burning, avoid fire starts, respect burn bans. Because in these conditions, any active or new wildfires would burn aggressively and very quickly. So that's what we want to try to prevent before it even starts in the first place. If we can get off without any new wildfires, it'll just be a nice and windy day ahead of us. But remember, that is why we're being cautious for a day like today. So we do have a weather impact alert day for eastern Washington because of this rather powerful storm system. Big cold front still over British Columbia, but it's going to zip through the Pacific Northwest fast. By the time it passes Spokane at 9 p.m. tonight, the storm will already be done and dusted. Because of its quick moving nature, we are of course expecting quite a bit of wind. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of, if not any, rainfall, unfortunately. And all signs lead to this is a summer storm for us. A windy cold front with no rainfall attached to it, unfortunately. So our wind speeds are going to be strongest over central Washington this afternoon, up to 30 miles per hour for areas like Wenatchee and Ellensburg and Moses Lake, probably a bit closer to 20 to 25 miles per hour for the Spokane area. Again, windy conditions to elevate fire danger, not necessarily strong enough to do any damage in their own right. The other side of that equation is the dry weather, and this has been a story all summer long. And week after week, we get a drought monitor update, and today it is as bad as it's been all summer and now early fall. Extreme drought conditions being reported for eastern Washington. That's the third level of drought. The fourth is called exceptional, and if you actually see it just over my elbow here, it does include some areas of North Idaho, including Coeur d'Alene. So again, and conditions are incredibly dry because of that rain drought that we've seen through the entire summer season. Finally, temperatures will still be in the low 80s today. Another common weather pattern we see in the summertime is our highest fire danger day occurs at the end of a heat wave. If you consider this a heat wave, it will be the last day that our temperatures will be in the 80s. Of course, a cold front passing through today means it should be a fair bit cooler tomorrow. The average is 70 in Spokane. Today's forecast is 81. Tomorrow's forecast is a much nicer 69 degrees in Spokane, 70 in Coeur d'Alene. So that'll be the full effects of this cold front. Plus, with the wind direction change, now that the winds are westerly, it's going to blow that smoke from those Cascade fires more in our direction and really out of Seattle. So we could actually notice a bit of smoke, haze, or even blowing dust as a possibility with today's weather impacts. So again, weather impact alert day, red flag warnings today, thanks to the heightened wind speeds for this afternoon and evening. But temperatures will cool off only for a day in the upper 60s on Friday before bouncing back into the 70s and 80s this last September weekend.
Now let's head to western Washington, where onshore winds will continue to bring cleaner air to the area. Seattle's Rich Marriott explains in today's forecast, and he tells us when the rain returns to the Emerald City.
Well, it was a pretty big night around Seattle with the Mariners clinching their first division title in 24 years. So a lot of excitement out there and a little bit of sunshine on T-Mobile Park, which is just across the street from our building and looking out from our rooftop camera down to T-Mobile. Quiet now before everything picks back up again tonight. And if you are headed out to the Mariner game this evening, looking good again, a little bit cooler than it has been. Probably mostly cloudy at the start of the game around 6:40 tonight for that first pitch, but then should clear to partly cloudy as we'll be looking for those temperatures to cool from the low 60s at 6:40 down to probably the mid 50s by the end of the game. So tonight you might need a sweatshirt depending on how worked up you are by the end of the game anyway. Overall though, we are looking at a pretty quiet start to the day. We do have some onshore winds that's helped clearing the air out. It's also brought in some marine deck clouds and some fog. We had a big fog bank there at Bellingham earlier this morning. That's starting to lift into the clouds, and those should burn off a little bit later on today. And see just a few clouds out there looking out from our Queen Anne Tower cam starting off the day. Did move in and kind of cover up Tacoma for a while, but those should see a little bit of sunshine before another round of clouds moves in later on today from a little passing dry front that's going to be going by us. Looking out at Westport along the coast, they've got some sunshine starting off the day there. The really good news in all of this is our air quality today looking great. It's going to be good pretty much up and down that I-5 corridor today, a real improvement from what we've had the last couple of days overall. And we're going to continue to see that onshore wind continue because of that little front that's moving by today as well. Checking the 7-day first alert forecast, you can see we do cool off anywhere from about 5 to 10 degrees from our highs yesterday. So that's the main effect of this front going by. We are going to be brushed by systems moving just to the north of us, it looks like here for the next couple of days. And with that, we might see a chance of a few showers or sprinkles, primarily up in the northern counties, Whatcom, Skagit, San Juan counties, and out towards the north coast. We also see the temperatures rebound as we head into the weekend, and then as we head towards later Sunday, we actually get a front that's going to be pushing in here and give us a little bit of steady rain as we head towards Sunday evening, and then that should turn to showers on Monday. We do have, with those onshore winds, which have helped clear out the air here in western Washington, it will be helping the air in eastern Washington too, but unfortunately, as it spills over the Cascades, they're going to get strong gusty winds this afternoon, so there is a red flag warning over on the east side because of wind gusts to up to 40 miles per hour. Very low humidities, of course, dry fuels, and those really well-established and active fires are going to be fanned by this. So that'll be in place, as I said, from about 1 p.m. today until about 11 o'clock tonight when those winds should start to die down. Generally gusting to 40 miles per hour in the red flag area, but basically in Kitsap, there is definitely a, not Kitsap, but Kittitas, there is a wind advisory out for winds gusting possibly to 55 miles per hour. So that's singled out as being the strongest winds there. Checking out the smoke model, you can see the smoke definitely out of western Washington. And you can see it blows past those fires. Unless you're in the lee of the fires, the air quality actually does improve over in eastern Washington, but also you see a lot more smoke in the places that are in the lee of those fires. Looking at the air quality, you can see here on the west side of the Cascades, good air quality today, and really slipping over there in the east side of the Cascades in the lee of the fires, and running pretty much the same as we head towards Friday, though it should improve a little bit in eastern Washington with those winds having died down a little bit. Take a look at the forecast temperatures for today. Again, we were in the low to mid 70s yesterday. We're going to drop back into the low to mid 60s most spots today, but we should start to rebound just a little bit as we head towards Friday. We're going to see temperatures upper 60s and low 70s, and moving into the weekend, going to be running mostly in the upper 60s to some low to mid 70s on Saturday. Saturday should be probably the warmest of the two weekend days, and then as the clouds start to roll in on Sunday, we'll see those temperatures begin to cool. We see that rain move in during the evening, it looks like, on Saturday. We'll be looking for that to change to off and on showers as we head towards Monday. Temperatures, we start off next week in the mid 60s, and those highs for Tuesday and Wednesday in the mid 60s. It does look like we're going to be possibly in a more active weather pattern with some possible rain as we head towards the end of next week.
After a quick break, we're going to stay in the Northwest. We'll take you to Oregon and Idaho, and a little later, meteorologist Ginger Jeffries is tracking late season monsoon thunderstorms. Gusty winds will increase the fire danger for the Columbia Gorge and into the basin. Otherwise, it's going to be a very pleasant autumn day in Portland. Rod Hill has all those details in today's forecast.
Good morning once again. I can tell you here in Portland, everybody is happy. We have another clear sky day. It's going to be beautiful. We've been in the 80s the last couple days. We're going to be in the 70s today, pretty close to normal, and just fabulous late September weather. Absolutely. I'm Rod Hill, happy to be here. I showed you this map earlier in the week, the fact that NOAA's projection for October has all of Washington in the potential above normal rainfall category, and at least the northern half of Oregon in the potential above normal rainfall category. And that map leads me in to this map. Now, this rain potential outlook is actually for this coming Monday and Tuesday, which will be the final 2 days of September. But this is a rainy pattern that could go into the first several days of October as well. So, this week, just great weather. We're still projecting all dry through the weekend. But starting Monday, this is an abrupt change for us, with rain amounts for Monday, Tuesday on the European weather model still showing pretty good chance of manageable rainfall really across much of our state. And these numbers now mimic the other weather models I look at. Basically, 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch of rain between Portland and Salem, and then 1/2 of an inch to maybe 6/10 of an inch of rain along the Oregon coast. And again, right now, this would be Monday, Tuesday, but we also have rain in the Wednesday, Thursday forecast. And overall, looking at the charts for the first half of October, there are several chances of maybe that's a couple days of rainy weather, maybe that's a couple days of rainy weather that are showing up. Now, back to what's going on this Thursday. Another day of seeing some rain down in Nevada and California, but all dry in Oregon and Washington. No rain for us in these clouds, but this is a wave of cooler weather coming in off the Pacific, and stands to reason we'll notice some increasing passing clouds at some point this afternoon or this evening, and that's it. So again, overall, a really nice day. We haven't seen this in a while. Red flag warning, which is basically code for high fire danger. This is this afternoon and this evening, and the reason it's been posted in all these areas in red, which starts in about Hood River and goes through the Dalles and out into Pendleton, is for a return of gusty west winds. Could be some gusts up to about 35 miles per hour. This morning, we're already seeing some winds in the Dalles, for example, up to about 20. So what does this mean? Well, it means if you're outside working with machinery and a spark gets thrown, it's one of those days where that spark could easily ignite some dry grass or brush. And with the west winds blowing, that would fan all of a sudden a rapidly developing wild or grass fire. So the warning is up just for people to be diligent and be thinking about that as outdoor activities take hold on this Thursday. All right, Chinook Boys Casino Resort Camera in Lincoln City. We've got lots of people out taking an early morning stroll on the beach. A little shallow fog still kind of nipping some of the beach areas, but basically it's a sunny day in the 60s coming to the coast. Zoomed in our Timberline camera looking out over the top of the summit of Mount Hood. You know, the melting glacier story across all of the Northwest, something that all of our stations have been covering and reporting on for the last handful of years. And this is pretty bare up on Mount Hood. This, again, is that Palmer Snowfield that the Timberline Lodge operates their boarding and ski camps in the months of June, July, into August. So we'll continue to follow that. A reminder, there have been projections for quite some time now that by the summer of 2050, by like the September, October months of 2050, is potential that we won't see any of our glaciers left up on Mount Hood. So we'll see. Here's a look at Salem Sky Camera. Beautiful sunshine there. Beautiful sunshine in Vancouver as well. Let's get you to our 7-day forecast. There it is. 73 today, the rainy weather we talked about on Monday.
Now let's head on over to Idaho, where there's going to be a nice stretch of weather in Boise. Rain chances are going to hold off until early next week. Tyson White has all of those details.
Hi there, I'm Tyson White from KTVB out here in Boise, and we're taking a look at our weather almanac for today because we're seeing temperatures that are about 10 degrees above average thanks to this high pressure system that's been pushing some of that warmth up. We'll be about 86 degrees for a daytime high today. Our average overnight low is a little bit high too because of that warmth that we've been seeing daytime. Nowhere near that record high though, back in 63 of 95 degrees. Probably be seeing the last of these warm temperatures over the next few days. Yesterday we saw temperatures in the mid 80s across the Treasure Valley. Ontario being that cooler spot of 83 degrees. The warm spot there, Mountain Home, 87. Upper and low 80s, that is, for the Magic Valley yesterday, and really comfortable for the mountain locations, mid 70s for all of those guys, and we'll see that continue through today as well. If you like that sunshine that we saw yesterday, we'll continue to see that for the next couple of days. Redfish Lake looking beautiful as ever here. This is up at the Visitor Center there, Warm Lake, just a beautiful shot. Lots of sunshine to enjoy out there this morning. Same thing goes here for the Boise area. Skycam 7 pointed up towards Bogus Basin and the Deer Point there. Really nice conditions. You see the sun kind of gleaming there on the hills. Just a beautiful shot so far this morning. Lots of sunshine. Sunshine dissipating just a little bit here in the Smiths Ferry area, about Long Valley. The fog kind of rolling through there. We'll see that kind of burn off throughout the morning hours. And then lots of sunshine in our mountain areas as well. Speaking of mountain areas, May Marina here in McCall, things are burning off very nicely this morning. Beautiful sunrise there as folks go check out the boats left there on the dock as we kind of get into our fall feel here in the McCall area. A nice day for those folks in mountain locations today as well. Here's where we start seeing some changes. Here's that high pressure that's been funneling up that heat into our area. It's going to continue to do that the next couple of days, but a weak cool front that will come through tomorrow morning into Friday will bring us a dip in temperatures. It'll also bring us some blustery conditions. We're going to put Futurecast into motion here. It'll show that skirts through Friday, bringing us temperatures right about average, about 77 degrees here around the southern portion of the state. Won't be bringing us any chance of precipitation. We'll see some light cloud cover just before that front moves through, but really the only difference we'll see is some breezy conditions tomorrow morning and temperatures a little cooler. Saturday will rebound temperatures. Sunday will keep those temperatures around just for a little bit, but then into Sunday afternoon and evening, and then into Monday. This low pressure system out of the Gulf of Alaska is a beefier one. It's going to bring us a chance of showers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's also going to bring us much cooler temperatures. Fall's really setting in shape for Monday this time instead of last Monday when it actually started. This cool pressure system is also going to bring a slight chance of a scattered snow shower on some of the mountain peaks out there above 7,500 feet. So that'll be the first dusting of this season. Storm chances between Sunday and Monday grow up to about 35%, and then we grow just a little bit more into Tuesday with a greater chance of showers then, and then they kind of taper off into Wednesday and Thursday. But cooler temperatures will prevail, keeping us kind of unsettled through the next few days there in the early portion next week. Back to today, though, for the daytime highs, up to about 86 here in the Boise area. Lots of sunshine to go around. Same thing for the Magic Valley. Lots of sunshine to share here across many areas by the noon hour, up to 74 degrees, 85 for a daytime high here in Twin Falls. Taking a look at the rest of the Magic Valley, 85 degrees out there in Gooding. Nice conditions, lots of sunshine to go around. Long Valley, or Wood River Valley, that is, 70s for many locations here. Nice, pleasant day. Get out and enjoy the sunshine across much of southern Idaho out here. Long Valley looking better today, not seeing as much haze from those smoke clouds that's pushed through from western Washington. 92 is going to be the warm spot there in Riggins. Again, lots of sunshine to share. Same thing goes here for the western edge of the Treasure Valley and the Boise area. Mid to upper 80s here for many locations. 84 for Idaho City. Nice, pleasant day in the mountains. 7-day forecast showing that warmth continuing the next few days. That dip in temperatures on Friday. And then Sunday, that's when things start to change. We see that cool front push in, bringing us some cloudy conditions Sunday evening into Monday. Monday is when we start seeing those changes. 75 degrees, right about average for this time of year. And then we start dipping below average, bringing cooler temperatures and rain showers for the early portion of next week. And just get out and enjoy the sunshine the next 4 days as we see this kind of being the last hurrah for summer here in southern Idaho.
Yep. Sunshine lovers, soak it in. We still have a lot to cover coming up after the break, but first we're going to head out west to California to check in with Monica Woods and Evan Noorani to tell us what's going on from north to southern California. We'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to Weather Out West. It's going to be a very warm and quiet weekend in Sacramento, but next week may be a different story. Our Monica Woods in Sacramento has all those details.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods with a look at our regional headlines in northern and central California. We've had a bit of some active weather passing through in the past couple of weeks. Some of that coming in from tropical moisture. We'll see clearing skies for the coast, drying for the valley, a few showers lingering for the foothills. But for the Sierra, chance of those afternoon thunderstorms will continue. Also excessive rainfall forecast kind of focusing right through the Tahoe corridor here, 80-50 corridor through the Tahoe Basin, southward through the central and southern Sierra, especially along 395. So folks that are traveling in that direction, just be prepared for rapidly changing conditions. For our Thursday, that's going to be the focus of our severe weather as well, with the best risk of thunderstorms south of Highway 50, stretching towards Yosemite, even Sequoia National Park. That is going to be where we're going to see the presence of that low pressure system in the counterclockwise circulation kind of hug for the next 2 days or so, even into our Friday still through parts of the central and southern Sierra. As far as our rainfall totals, they're pretty lean. only about 1/4 of an inch or so. But where we do get some rain, that could be a pretty dangerous situation, especially for some localized flooding. So some rapid rises on streams and creeks can certainly happen, especially with those isolated thunderstorms, quick heavy downpour, and it can cause a quick rise in some of those smaller bodies of water. The culprit of this is that low pressure system. Again, that counterclockwise circulation as it moves its way through the Central Valley, and then we'll just kind of move over towards the east side of the state. But with that, we're going to have that active weather south of Highway 50 for our Thursday. This then will move in towards the Great Basin and still have the presence of some instability, but we pick up some north winds in parts of the north end of the valley. That's going to elevate slightly our fire danger for Friday. It's a quick bump up, and then we're right back to the potential for wetting rain. Now, this could be our first measurable rain of the fall season. We've gone quite some time as well without a whole lot of rain. There's moderate to high confidence and cooler than average temperatures and some showers. As far as the lower confidence, rain and snow totals, as well as snow level. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. We've had almost 180 days without measurable rainfall, over 1/10 of an inch. So we're kind of getting itchy to get the rainy season going. Highs near 70 for the Tahoe Basin, 70s and 80s as we head into the foothills. Again, an active weather period expected for Yosemite, even Sequoia and Kings National Park. Highs will warm into the 60s, but a lot of potential for thunderstorms. Along the central coast, we're in the 60s and 70s. Skies actually starting to clear. We're going to hold those highs, though, in the 80s for the Central Valley. Nice to be out of those 100s. 60s for the Bay Area, 80s as we head inland for the coastal valley communities. Along the northwest coast, we're in the 60s and right around the low 70s, 90s as we head inland. Again, dry for the north end of the valley for our Thursday forecast. Heading into our capital region, highs are going to be in the upper 80s to right around 90. We'll see the clearing skies and actually a beautiful Friday, Saturday, and Sunday forecast heading into the first weekend of fall. Let's take a look at it. We're going to have a brief little warm up here on Friday with those north winds, slightly elevated fire danger. And then for the beginning of the first weekend, highs will warm into the upper 80s. That's pretty close to average, actually. We start to drop those temperatures on Sunday. Highs will be in the low 80s, a bigger drop early next week. Highs are in the 70s, chance of rain coming in. And again, for the Sierra, we'll be tracking a slight chance of a few snow flurries very early in the morning, perhaps on Wednesday morning. Beyond that, we're back into the 80s, sunny skies and beautiful fall weather. A little taste of everything here over the next 10 days in northern and central California.
Meanwhile, in Southern California, showers are set to return to portions of the area. Evan Noorani tells us which areas have the best chance to see rain and when.
Hi everyone, I'm Evan Noorani in San Diego, where we are starting off the day with overcast skies. We will have a lot more cloud cover inundating not only our coastline, but our inland valleys for days to come. You saw that look outside from Mission Bay as we started off the day. The clouds that we had this morning were in contrast to some sunny starts to the day that we had earlier this week, and some warmer than normal temperatures that we had earlier this week too. Instead, we've dropped now into the below average range as a trough of low pressure makes its arrival. So no, we're not deviating from average too much when we look at these highs. For example, San Diego only 1 degree cooler than average. Ramona, Borrego Springs 2 degrees cooler than average. But this is just the transition. Tomorrow we're getting colder. Saturday could be the coldest. And it looks like by that time we could be closer to 10 degrees below normal. It's all thanks to this increase in onshore flow. Notice all those arrows pushing from the water toward the coastline. It's helping bring about all of that cool, moist air that's picked up over the ocean and sending it onto the coast. It's going to push all the way to the western slopes of the mountains, which again requires that kind of extra oomph, that push of onshore flow. And we're going to get it as we go into the rest of the day today and early tomorrow. It could even provoke a few showers. Notice a little bit of green popping up there along the coast and inland. Nothing that we see in our future models is expected to be all that intense. We should stay under 1/10 of an inch. through the entirety of this storm, so to speak. I even hesitate to call it a storm because as we get toward the afternoon stretch Friday and even through the weekend, we should be picking up on more and more sunshine. Friday is not expected to bring us a ton of sunshine in the afternoon stretch, but Saturday and Sunday will hold on to that abundance of clouds in the morning and then transition throughout the day. Afternoon highs today, 70s and 80s, much cooler than the 80s and 90s that we had to start the week. 78 in Fallbrook, 71 in Del Mar this afternoon. Downtown San Diego should be making it to about 75. In Poway, we're going for 80, Ramona 83, and Julian shooting for a high of 75. On that 7-day forecast, want to point out a couple things. First thing is that along the water, there's not a huge differentiation of your temperatures. For example, 73 today will drop by tomorrow, and that's across the board. We should be seeing those temperatures slide by tomorrow. But then from Saturday all the way through the middle of next week, there's no massive change. And across the board, we're staying cooler than normal. Even as we get toward Wednesday of next week, 74. Still a hair cooler than where we would typically be. So that's the plus side, is that this is going to be a great opportunity, not only in the afternoon, but through the overnight hours as well, to open up the windows, let in some of that cooler air. Overnight lows are going to take a little bit longer to adjust. So notice we're at 62, for example, all the way through about Sunday. And then by the middle of next week, we'll start to finally dip down to the upper 50s. Afternoon high temperatures for the next 7 days across the valleys going to drop by almost 10 degrees from this afternoon through tomorrow afternoon. So Friday is going to get a nice adjustment. Great opportunity to keep those windows open and turn off that AC. As we get through the weekend, AM clouds, PM sun, mid 70 and upper 70 degree temperatures across our mountains and deserts. We also could see a couple pop-up thunderstorms too, depending on how much moisture we have out there as we get into the weekend. Going through early next week, we don't have any great opportunity for humidity, for hot temperatures. Instead, we stay in kind of that standard range, a little cooler than average. Upper 70s for the mountains, plenty of sunshine Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The deserts should be in a similar range too, dropping from the 90s and upper 90s today down to the upper 80s from Saturday to Sunday. Back to the low 90s for the beginning of next week with more and more sunshine. Remember to watch out for a little bit of wind across both those mountain and desert microclimates through the day today into early tomorrow, and then a pretty casual weekend with just some light scattered showers that will be popping up from time to time.
After a quick break, we'll have forecasts from Colorado and Arizona, and later, Balboa Park in San Diego sits on an ancient seafloor, and it's filled with marine fossils that tell our history. See what scientists uncovered beneath that, and now it's on display in Southern California. Heavy rain and thunderstorms are back in the forecast in Arizona. Phoenix's Ginger Jeffries has today's monsoon meter and what you need to know about the incoming rain.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west across Arizona, where we are going to be switching extremes. We have had near record heat, 1 degree shy of meeting our record yesterday. Today, we're still going for daytime highs that are well above the normal range, but major changes are on the horizon. So let's take a look at some of our 12 News weather watchers as they showcase the glorious desert. I love this from Maricopa, Minnesota Moose, showing us a starry night indeed. Nice clear skies. Brilliant view of the moon overnight in Buckeye. Teresa setting in this photo. And then, as we're going to see over the next about, I'd say 12 to 24 hours, Michelle and Prescott just giving us a little bit of a preview. Those clouds building in over the mountains. And yeah, this one, okay, it's a few days old, but Heber and Sedona sending me this double rainbow as, yeah, we had some rain shafts coming down over the mountains. And this is going to be our screenplay as monsoon moisture really starts to ramp up in the next 24 hours. Now today, we're starting to get a feel for it, especially in the higher elevations. We also have some wind to talk about from Kingman into Bullhead City. And anytime we see winds, you know, winds are winds of change. So we've got this emerging weather pattern, all courtesy of tropical moisture that's now going to draw up that energy and spit it out across the state. But like I said, today there's still an opportunity in the higher elevations. Temperature wise, though, I'd say the southwest quarter of the state doesn't quite know we've got a change underway because numbers are still on the excessive side. 106 in Phoenix, 108 in Gila Bend, 103 today in Yuma, and right about 104 in Havasu. So yeah, clearly not much impact as far as monsoon moisture goes for western AZ. Now, you can see we do have a 2 on the board for the valley simply because of the size of storms that are moving in overnight. And as far as this 2 goes, it's really not until later this evening into the overnight hours, because tomorrow is really our prime time. But again, we are looking for some pop-up showers today. Notice what happens though from our 2 to a 6 tomorrow for the valley. We are looking for some strong storms. As a result, National Weather Service pushing a flash flood watch in effect. We're going to upgrade this as those storms start rolling in. But for many of the regions, this starts today. It's going to expand closer to the metro tomorrow. So folks, what's going on? Well, high pressure has been keeping us on the high side. But now this low pressure engine that's just been parked off the coast, that's going to draw up this tropical moisture. And so watch these storms really start to develop. And again, it's going to be tonight into tomorrow, looking pretty expansive. We're kind of cutting the state in half because it's really impacting the east and the southeast. It's not going to be so much of an impact for the west yet, the western side of the state, but it is going to be expanding through Friday. So on Friday, get ready for some strong thunderstorms early afternoon into the evenings, which means gusty downpours at times and the possibility of lightning and dust storms. Until that time, we've got another hot one in the works for you on this Thursday with daytime highs pushing up to 106, increasing clouds tonight and temperatures dropping to about 79 degrees. By tomorrow, though, we've got widespread thunderstorm action that's going to take us into the weekend. I mean, look at the temperature drop, even in the higher elevations from the mid 70s today to the upper 60s tomorrow. I think the valley is really going to feel it with the bottom line. Weather impact alert in place. I mean, again, going from 106 to 94, and we're not stopping there. These thunderstorms will start to taper off by Saturday and Sunday, leaving us below the normal range in the double digits through the early part of next week. But folks, heads up, we've got storms rolling in tomorrow.
The heavy rain is a thing of the past for our friends in Denver. Chris Bianchi lets us know what to expect as we head into the first weekend of fall, and Jaden Knowles has the details on today's Equal Lux.
Well, we had a warm day for us back on Wednesday, certainly compared to Tuesday when in Denver. We only topped that at 53 degrees. That was our coolest day since early May. On Tuesday, across Colorado, we had a lot of mountain snow, not just a little snow at tops of our highest peaks. In the mountains, we saw as much as 8 inches, 9 inches of heavy, wet snow at those highest peaks, and some of that snow down to about 8,000, 9,000 feet for us. But very different story for us here on Wednesday, 60s, 70s Eastern Plains, 50s and 60s for those high temperatures in the higher elevations. Now, overall, we're going to be underneath this ridge of high pressure. This will keep us on the dry side and on the warm side for really the foreseeable future here, folks. This is what we call a blocking high, and it kind of tells a story within those words. It's going to basically stop any of those shower and storm chances from reaching us, and it'll keep us on the toasty side as well. We get some southwest flow that'll eventually bring us some showers and storms, but until then, mostly on the dry side. Thursday, high temperatures here on this Thursday, 70s, 80s Eastern Plains, 60s and 70s with sunny skies abound for us across the state of Colorado. In Denver, a couple degrees above average for this time of year, but this is pretty typical stuff for the last week of the month of September. And that 7-day forecast, it's dry. It is warm for us across Colorado. Now, we do get some mountain storms back in the picture for us on Sunday and into Monday. That's because that southwest flow will eventually pick up some Pacific moisture and give it back to us, but generally at or above average for us in Denver, and we stay dry into next week. Final thing, if you're doing some of that leaf peeping, peak in Colorado will likely be this weekend in terms of that fall foliage. Most of those leaves below 11,000 feet likely survived our most recent snow event, and that peak will likely be through the first couple of days of October. And check it out, those fall leaves putting on quite the show right now.
I'm Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Jaden Knowles here in Denver, Colorado, and today is a very special day, and I'll tell you the reason why. But first, you remember back on Monday, September 22nd. Well, that was actually autumn equinox. That happened at 12:19, and of course, that's the reason it's fall. But what is equinox? Well, I can tell you that it really is from the sunshine right over the equator. It's when it's directly over the equator. If you wondered what the word equinox actually means, well, that's Latin for equal nights. But today I told you is a special day. Well, it's actually Equilux Thursday, which means we'll see 12 hours of daylight throughout the entire day today across the state of Colorado. Now, Earth's atmosphere bends like light, making it look like we get more sunshine. And the way we actually measure it is just a tad bit different, just because it takes a long time for sunlight to reach our eyes. So the way we measure it, the top of the sun, once it gets above the atmosphere, that's official sunrise. And then sunset is whenever the top of the sun gets below the actual atmosphere. And here's the last thing that I want to leave you with. Equilux. It actually means equal light. So if we take a look at the time that we saw sunrise this morning across the state of Colorado, 6:49 exactly, sunset is going to be at 6:50 this evening. So the next time you're wondering what is the difference between equinox and equilux, now you can tell your friends this answer.
Very, very cool. Here in Seattle, 7 a.m., sunset, 7 p.m., so 12 hours on the dot. We're still in the peak of hurricane season, and when we come back, Topper Hutt will tell us what's going on in the busy Atlantic. Welcome back to Weather Out West. I'm Ashley Ruiz. Now we're going to talk about the tropics. We have Gabrielle, Umberto, and possibly Imelda. Topper Hutt takes a deeper dive into the tropics, and he'll have today's national forecast.
Hey, Weather Impact Nation, I'm WSA 9 meteorologist Topper Hutt here in D.C. Well, Tropical Storm Umberto formed Wednesday evening. Forecast to become a hurricane sometime during the day on Saturday, according to the National Hurricane Center, and the data looks right, and possibly a Category 2 by next Monday at 3 o'clock. Compared to Gabrielle, smaller storm and a track a little farther west, but still well off the coast of the U.S., but it could go just west of Bermuda, which would affect them a little bit more. Spaghetti plots. Each line is a computer model saying this is where I think it's going. Closer the lines are together, the more confluence, the more agreement amongst the models. This is pretty good agreement because we're like 7 days out here. There's one outlier that sends it toward the southeast coast, and we'll monitor that. But right now, it looks like a fish storm. Okay. Let's go out west, shall we? Beautiful 60s up to low 70s in Seattle with sunshine. Beautiful in Portland, 70s to low 80s. I mean, make your weekend plans here, and great for high school football. Low 80s on Thursday in Spokane, but then falling a little bit, but still beautiful in Boise. 80s, but 70s on Friday, also beautiful. Denver, you're in great shape with sunshine. Upper 70s to low 80s. Phoenix, okay, a little toasty today on Thursday, but then you fall back into the 90s, which is actually pretty comfortable. San Diego, perfect and usual San Diego weather, sunshine in the 70s. And Sacramento, we're looking at temperatures upper 80s on Thursday. A little hot actually on Friday, back in the 90s, and we fall back in the 80s on Saturday. In the south, it's also a little bit more like summer. 80s in Dallas, but not that humid. 90s in Austin, all with sunshine. Some storms, Corpus Christi early on Thursday, but then you're in pretty good shape Friday, Saturday. And Houston, sunshine across the board and toasty, upper 80s. Little Rock, beautiful. A few more clouds on Thursday, but then more sunshine Friday, Saturday. Looks dry, low 80s. And then New Orleans, nice. Mid to upper 80s with sunshine. Could see a storm on Thursday. Just kind of be flexible with your plans. And then Atlanta, some storms on Thursday and Friday. Tampa, also a storm possible on Friday, better chance on Saturday. Again, these are not washout days by any means, and temps near 90 in Tampa over the weekend. So, St. Louis, you're in great shape, upper 70s, low 80s, and then after some showers early Thursday in Memphis, you're okay Friday, Saturday. Kind of the same deal in Louisville, and also you're in pretty good shape in Charlotte across the board. I can't rule out a shower, though, on Friday. Minneapolis, gorgeous and well above average. Around 80 across the board with sunshine. Des Moines around 80 with sunshine. Grand Rapids 70s, beautiful. And Indianapolis, sunshine, warming up, 83 on Saturday. So Portland, some showers or rain on Thursday, early Friday. Your day is Saturday. Norfolk, some storms possible Friday and Saturday. And Buffalo, after showers early Thursday, you're in great shape. And here in D.C., some storms possible Thursday. Well, some storms will be on Thursday. And then a little more sunshine and dry and still toasty Friday and Saturday.
Now that Topper told you what's going on in the Atlantic, let's go ahead and see what's going on in the Eastern Pacific. We still have Narda spinning over the open Eastern Pacific. It is a Cat 1 hurricane, 90 miles per hour, though it is expected to intensify a little bit, maybe rebounding back up to a Cat 2 before weakening. It's going to enter some cooler sea surface temperatures, and it's just not going to have those favorable conditions to really hold itself together as it begins to bend to the north and then eventually the northeast. And yes, it's been very, very active in the Eastern Pacific so far this season. You see about 8 hurricanes, and the next named storm, if that happens, would be Octave and then Priscilla. Hopefully they don't get that close. Okay, so coming up after the break, we still have more to cover for you. Unearthing the Past at Amazement in the Basement, the San Diego Natural History Museum's newest exhibit, where fossils, labs, and surprises wait just below your feet. The history of San Diego is on display around the county, with some details of the past still buried under our feet. But above ground, the San Diego Natural History Museum's newest exhibit is showcasing a variety of fossils and different specimens that not only detail our past, but can help with modern day research. San Diego's chief meteorologist, Carlene Chavis, takes us inside what's being called amazement in the basement.
Each one of these fossils digs into the unique history of San Diego. We're unearthing our region's past here in the latest exhibit in the San Diego Natural History Museum.
We have some really incredible specimens that you can find that were found right under our feet.
Abigail Carr-Kinney is the exhibit director for Amazement in the Basement. And she's not exaggerating. The last time I was in the basement of the Nat, marine fossils were found during the construction. They are now on display for you to check out.
There are shells, at least the internal mold of a shell of a high-spired snail that lived on the seafloor. And in the back there are some clams, also from the museum.
That's because Balboa Park is on an ancient seafloor called the San Diego Formation, which dates back 3.5 million years when the ocean's edge was as far inland as La Mesa.
So if you stroll along the beach, instead of always looking at the ocean, turn around and look at the cliffs, and there's a whole story there to unravel.
Venturing up the water column, you'll find much bigger fossils in this exhibit.
Fishes, sharks, rays, and if we're in the right time period, whales and dolphins and walruses and sea cows, and yeah, some pretty exotic organisms.
Dr. Tom Desmarais is the curator of paleontology at the San Diego Natural History Museum. The Paleontology Center is actually named after him. We are standing in a lab that is part of the visible storage. Some of the specimens on display include the paleontologists and researchers themselves working on their latest finds.
So people will be able to watch them, and every now and then the scientists might even be able to open the window and visitors will be able to talk and interact with them.
San Diego County is considered one of the most fossil-rich areas in the United States. Even dinosaurs roamed our county roughly 75 million years ago.
Duck-billed dinosaurs and armored dinosaurs like ankylosaurs. Probably carnivores too, but we just haven't found those remains.
Aside from dinosaurs and ancient marine life, you'll find other fossils including large brontotheres related to rhinos, which roamed in what is now Scripps Ranch. Evidence of this once lush tropical rainforest are imprinted in our history.
Missing one.
Visitors can also play puzzles and games like Poop Bingo. Scientists, now you, can learn a lot from poop.
So we're able to use poop to know what they eat and what plants they need in their habitat to survive.
The exhibit includes taxidermy animals and animals in jars that were used in research done by scientists here at the Nat. And if insects are your thing,
That one's a little too big.
There's one on display that was recently discovered by scientists here at the San Diego Natural History Museum. Now it's time for you to open drawers, wander around the basement, and unearth our natural history in this new exhibit. Happy exploring. For CBS 8, I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis.
May have to take a trip down to sunny San Diego. And since it is Thursday, it's Drought Monitor Day, I wanted to bring you the latest because in this week's Drought Monitor update, we've had some improvements and worsening conditions. Worsening drought conditions in parts of the Northwest. Meanwhile, locally heavy showers led to some drought improvements. While this led to drought improvements, it also caused flash floodings in portions of the driest portions of the country, such as Death Valley and the desert. So the USDA reports that statewide topsoil moisture was rated 92%, which is very short to short in Washington, and then 80% in Oregon. A late season monsoon surge will lead to heavy rain portions of the Southwest, which should help with the drought, but that could lead to more flash flooding issues again. Through December, though, it's looking up, so that's good news except for portions of the desert Southwest. We want to thank you, as always, for joining us for this today's Weather Out West. We hope you can join us again tomorrow for Friday's edition of Weather Out West.